Hey everybody, my name. How the fuck did I forget my name? My name is Ray Gootz, and welcome to Gootz Disney Pod. I'm your host, Ray Gootz, as always. And we're still continuing the Alien Predator journey. Joining me, first time guest, Darragh Riordan. I say it in my head, Darragh Riordan. How is it really?
Darragh Riordan.
Darragh Riordan. Okay, that's a lot easier to say. And he's here to talk to me about Alien Resurrection. Darragh, I met you. You were doing my Monday show at Caroline's. Are you still doing comedy? And when did you start comedy?
I took a break from it because of the pandemic, but I'm going to be getting back to it within the next month, I say. But I started doing stand-up in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And I started doing it because I was doing stupid impressions during a sound check for a comedy show that I was doing, running the audio board for. So before the show, one of the comedians heard me and asked me if I ever thought about doing stand-up. And I said, yeah, a couple of times, but I never actually considered it. So he set me up with what I thought was an open mic, but it ended up being a bringer show. And since it was my first time ever doing a show, every one of my friends wanted to see me. So I went up there with maybe 4 minutes worth of material, if even, and they gave me about 15 minutes. So I had no clue what I was doing.
Wow. And you used to run shows. I did a few of your shows in the Bronx, right? You had shows in the Bronx?
Yeah, I used to do shows in Kelly Ryan's and Rambling House.
Yeah, you live in the so there's a part of the Bronx they don't talk about in movies or TV shows, which is the very white Irish part.
Yeah.
And they don't talk about that part. That part doesn't exist in most movies. But it's very Irish, right?
Yeah, it kills me because I was watching the rest in peace, Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown, and he went to the Bronx. Yeah. And I was like, you could have spent 5 minutes and had one beer in our neighborhood. That's all. He didn't have to eat anything. He could have just had a beer.
He doesn't, huh?
No.
Yeah, nobody. You know what? Like I was at your area to do a few shows, and some of the bars are like massive. Like these massive, like old school Irish pubs. Nobody talks about your part of the Bronx. Just nobody. It's like a secret.
Yeah. Well, we're like the alcoholic uncle no one wants to acknowledge in the Bronx.
Yeah, and but yeah, it's weird. Yeah, nobody talks about it. But yeah, your family. Are you like what generation? Because you kind of have like you're Irish, obviously. You get a very Irish name. It sounds like you should be running a Celtic cult out of your basement. What generation are you? Like how long has your family been in America?
I'm first generation, actually. My parents moved out here in 1988, had me in 1990. then I lived out here until '95. I went back to Ireland.
Oh
lived
wow.
lived there until 2000, and then moved back. So I actually had an accent when I came back when I was 10 years old. I promise everything. I talk like this, bye. Everything I said was sounded like this, like I was half singing a song there, no?
Oh wow. So I didn't realize that you were that connected with Ireland. I kind of knew, but I didn't know hard like that you were this much into Ireland. How are they taking the Queen's death? Are they partying over there?
Yeah, I'd say 70% of them are happy. You know what? They never hated her. They hated her family.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of just thought she was an annoying, sweet old lady. What they really hate is how English people, like, they're having like their 10, 12 days of mourning.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a little bit too much. I mean,
yeah,
I think we got over Kennedy at this point in the 60s.
yeah, yeah. No, if I could put into a phrase that they would say, they'd be like, "Come off it, lads. You're full of shit."
Yeah.
That's exactly what they would say.
They didn't bury her yet, right?
I have no idea. I've been paying attention.
I know they're like trotting her around. Well, every time I get like weird updates from like Yahoo News or something on my phone, and then it's like they're transporting the Queen here, they're transporting her body there. It's like this bitch is going more places than I was, and I'm alive in 40 years.
Yeah, she's doing a Johnny Cash song, but in English.
She's doing. It's like, can you just bury her? Can we just like? I don't know. Like, I just think having a royal family is so stupid at this point.
Oh,
it just really. It feels like Dungeons and Dragons, like fantasy football nonsense. Like
whatever helps them get through their day, I guess. Good for them.
I just think it's so fucking. I'm not calling this guy king. This guy is an idiot. Charles, I'm talking about Prince Charles.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself, like, Game of Thrones really undersold the incest when it comes to the royal families.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they don't want to. Well, yeah, when you go out, you get like Meghan Markle, and the whole country almost collapses. So.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of get annoyed with her too. Like, she did that Oprah Winfrey interview.
Oh
and
yeah.
She was like, they asked me what color my baby was, and Oprah was like, "Oh my God, are the royal family racist?" And I was like, "Yes, they are. Of course they are."
You kind of gotta know what you're marrying into. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not probably gonna hook up with the Princess of Monaco, but I know, like, if I do, that whole country is gonna be looking at like. And then he said, "What on stage?" Like,
yeah, I know.
They're not gonna be like, "This is great." It's a fucking guy with 2 dogs and a fucking Bulbasaur tattoo is our new prince. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna examine you because you got to know what you get into. You know?
Yeah, you really do. By the way, I've seen you since you got most of your tattoos, actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Well, it's been the past year, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm up to number 21. You have any tattoos or?
No. I don't know. I feel like I'm too pale for them.
Actually, they would come out more if you're pale. So there you go.
Oh yeah, that's actually a good point.
They would stand out more. Yeah, you got to get the Irish flag.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone already knows by your name. Like, I got this flag too.
Yeah.
I don't want you guys to think I'm Jewish.
Shamrock on the other one.
Yeah.
Just in case you didn't get the message.
So, did you grow up being a fan of the Alien Predator series, or?
Yeah, huge fan.
Yeah.
Huge fan. Yeah. In fact, the one we're talking about today is probably the first one I was aware of. I mean, I was 7 when it came out, so I couldn't see it. But the first one I ever saw was Alien, the original, when I was like 11. It was on Sci-Fi, so I didn't really see it, but I saw it properly like a year later. Then I saw Aliens, and I love those 2 movies.
No, those 2 are perfect.
Yeah,
they're just the best 1-2 punch on the planet. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then I saw Alien 3, and I was not pleased with that.
Yeah.
But I actually, quick side note, I got a Raspberry Pi for Christmas this year, and I threw it in a like a Sega Genesis looking case. And I actually just beat, like, a few weeks ago, Alien 3 for Sega Genesis, which is a really underrated game, actually.
Oh, you like that? I tried to play because I have all these ROMs on my Nintendo Mini. Remember, I hacked that.
Yeah.
The Alien 3 on that's pretty bad, but you like the one for Sega.
Yeah, it's just a straightforward shoot, jump kind of thing. But
yeah,
I don't know. I had a lot of fun playing it. But then after I saw 3, I was like, well, I got to finish out the first 4. And I ended up, I don't want to say Resurrection's a better movie than 3, but if you give me the choice, I would watch Resurrection 10 times out of 10 more than 3.
Yeah, well, Resurrection, first of all, so I had only seen this once before in theaters. Um, every now and then over the past few years before I did this podcast, I've been like, I should have like an Aliens marathon, and I'll get through 1 and 2, and then I start 3, and I'm like, life's too short, and I move on with
Yeah.
my day. I'm like, all right, so I've never. It's a long road to get to this movie when you're watching the first 4 in order. And so I only seen it once in the theaters, and I remember actually really liking it in the theaters. And I rewatched it today, first time, and man, it does not hold up. It's not as bad as 3, but what a drop off in quality from 1 and 2.
Oh yeah. You know what I was actually thinking when I was watching last night? This movie would make a really good multiplayer game.
Yes,
Like
yes, it would. Yes,
it,
because
it's
you're in the ship with the Ron Perlman, the wheelchair guy, Winona Ryder, and Ripley. Yeah,
yeah, like if you had a character select screen and a first person shooter, that would be awesome. Like
yeah.
it would be great. But
Yes.
yeah, I know. The first thought I had while I was watching it was, I wonder what kind of military Dan Hedaya becomes the head of.
Yeah.
He's so cartoony in this movie. I love Dan Hedaya, by the way. I love everything.
Oh, he's great. He's great. Everyone's like a little more cartoony in this movie than even like 3 or even like and 2. 2's very comic booky with the Marines. They're cracking jokes, but
Yeah.
these characters all kind of feel like they came out of a shitty '90s comic rather than like Dan Hedaya, even Ron Perlman. They all seem the other like I thought they were space pirates, but they're mercenaries. I don't know, like all these years I thought they were space pirates. They're like mercenaries or something, right?
Yeah. And then another actor I love too is really hamming it up was Brad Dourif as a scientist when he goes up and he bares his teeth to the alien for no reason.
Yes, I've heard. Yes, that's Brad Dourif. Yeah. He bears teeth to the alien. The one thing about Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection that was shocking is that the alien effects don't hold up.
No, they don't. Yeah.
And this is when CGI was like, really developing. It just has not aged well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the swimming scenes. Like I remember the first time I saw that, I thought it was awesome, but it does not look that good.
No, it doesn't look that good. The human alien hybrid.
Oh God, yeah.
Weird as fuck.
With the sad eyes.
Mm-hmm. The one thing I thought was kind of like not that bad was the Ripley clones. The failed clones, like the one that she has to kill and stuff. That wasn't that bad.
Yeah, there was a reference to that, I feel like, in the new Stranger Things season.
Oh, the Ripley clones? I didn't see new Stranger Things season.
Oh, well, I won't spoil it for you, but yeah, there is something similar.
Oh, okay. Wow, they're referencing Alien Resurrection in Stranger Things. That's
yeah, they're getting to the bottom of the barrel.
So the whole plot is, even though Ripley threw herself in a furnace, giant a thing that liquidates metal, she threw her body in. Even though she did that, somehow they got some of her blood somehow. And I just saw Alien 3. I don't remember her ever bleeding by the bad guys, but somehow they got her blood. And it took them 200 years, because it had to be during Aliens 3, because the Queen's inside of her in Alien 3. So they'd have to get the blood then. They couldn't get the blood on Aliens. It would make no sense, or Alien. Somehow they did. I don't know how, but they did. And it's 200 years later, and they clone her with the Alien Queen inside, mainly to get to the Alien Queen. And the first thing I noticed was I realized something after watching these 4 movies. Ripley doesn't really have a lot of character. She's kind of like a cipher. So this movie, when she's like, who do I have to fuck to get off this plane or ship? And making other comments, like cracking jokes, it's kind of jarring because she doesn't really crack jokes in the first 3 movies.
No, she's in the first one, she's like a deadly serious about her job person.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the second one, she's like deathly afraid that no one believes her about what happened in the first one. And then in the third one, I don't even know how to describe it. The third one is almost like a funeral mass or something. I don't know. But this one, she has a little bit. She's mixed with the xenomorph DNA, and I noticed 2 things. Number one, it gives her excellent basketball skills.
Yes.
And number two, it makes her slightly a lesbian with Winona Ryder's character for some reason.
But also like kind of like flirty when she was never flirty before.
Yeah, I know.
And also like sarcastic, like some like are the xenomorphs like really like horny, like sarcastic creatures? Like are they like cracking jokes at each other? Like, yeah, leave these assholes.
I guess maybe they need to go back and just subtitle all the xenomorph scenes in the Alien movies.
Yeah, because it's like, why does this? And now her blood is also acidic, so she's almost like she tried to fight these creatures the entire time, and she basically became one at the end. You know,
Yeah.
Even though it's not really her, it's a clone of hers, but she does have some memories.
Yeah, they didn't do a very good job of explaining that either. They were
No.
like, oh, she has memories because of the xenomorphs, but I mean, like, did the xenomorphs share her memories? Like, that doesn't.
They weren't very clear with that. It was. I'll say this: Alien 3 really put them up against the wall. I mean, there's really no room to maneuver with that ending, and the fact that they made this movie, I'll give them credit. Like, it's kind of the same thing with Last Jedi. Did you like Last Jedi?
No.
Yeah, I fucking hate it. Same thing with Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. People shit on Rise of Skywalker, but I'm like, all right, the guy gave them no room to move. So, I mean, it's credit that they actually got the story to keep going. Like,
yeah, I'll give them that too. Like, Last Jedi just seemed like it wanted to go out of its way to not even destroy Star Wars, just like destroy what the movie right before it did. It was like, oh yeah, just throw that out. Yeah, we're starting fresh in the second movie of a trilogy. Like, okay,
it's like, wait a minute, you know, you only have one more movie to wrap this up.
Right?
Nah, who's to say? Who cares?
Yeah, who's to say?
And I think the same thing. And they made Alien 3. I think they thought that was it, which I don't know why. I don't know why these people keep doing this. Where they go like, well, that's it, and they make a definite ending, and then it's like, well, we want more, and then it's like, well, how the fuck am I gonna get out of the ending? So I go look at give them that. They didn't have a lot, but still, like, there was kind of changes to Ripley's character, and I don't know, like, it was a very weird movie. Didn't it feel like just weird to you? And you know what? I remembered something. Josh Whedon wrote a lot of this movie, a lot of his dialogues in this movie. So that's why sometimes it's like oddly sarcastic. That's his shit. That's it.
And I mean, I'm familiar with the show, but I never really watched it. But I heard he took a lot of this movie and put it in Serenity and Firefly.
I've never seen Serenity. I've seen parts of Firefly. And yeah, there's kind of like this. His characters are always like kind of like jokey and like kind of sarcastic for no reason, just to be sarcastic. And that's kind of this movie. Whereas you don't really have that in Aliens or Alien. Like, I feel like when there is humor in those two movies, it's more organic, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Bill Paxton pretty much just carried the humor in Aliens.
Yes, but he's like he's basically freaking out, which most of us would.
Yeah, oh yeah.
In that situation. It's not like he's like cracking or being sarcastic in the middle of, like, you know, sometimes I feel like these Josh Whedon movies, the characters will just be like kind of like, I don't know, almost roast battling, and like they'll be in a ship that's on fire, and they're, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they're fighting like a million aliens, and their ship's about to blow up, and they're just like roast battling each other. Like, what do you do? Like, no one would talk like that. People are like, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking die, get out of here. Yeah, but I thought that was kind of weird. I did like Dan Hedaya though, even though, like, again, it doesn't really fit the other movies, but it's still better than Aliens 3, which is really weird.
Yeah, because Aliens 3 feels like homework.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alien 3 feels like homework.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like very dour. There's not a lot of action. You know, there's this weird all male incel planet where they all shave their heads.
Yeah. Yeah, that movie, I watched that last week, and that was just, what a joyless slog that is. You know, Aliens 2 ends on such a high, and man, they went out of the way to tank the whole series with that Alien 3. What a fucking disaster.
Yeah, I know. And I like David Fincher too. He made, you know, Seven right after that. So
yeah,
he's a great director. Speaking of Seven, another actor from that movie is actually in Alien Resurrection. The guy you've seen Seven, right?
Yeah, I've seen Seven.
Do you remember the guy they put the dildo on with the knife at the end? And he's in this he's in Alien Resurrection as the guy who had the alien in his chest, and at the end of the movie, he shoves the scientist up to his chest, and it bursts through the guy's head.
Oh yeah, see that was the other thing that was weird. Like they kept the guy around, and the guy's like, "No, I'm fine." Like they kept the guy around, and I'm like,
why would they?
What?
Yeah, why would they? There's no incentive.
Yeah, there was like, did I miss something? Was the guy like he had like the password to like get into the he had? Was there any reason to keep that guy running around with them?
I think it was the idea that they could surgically remove the thing like they did from Ripley.
Oh, okay. So they wanted to try to save him. That's nice.
And I think Winona Ryder kind of guilted them, being like, "Oh, you know, let's not leave him here or something." I don't remember it that well, but
yeah, no, I don't remember. And then I forgot that Winona Ryder was a robot. I don't know why I didn't realize she was a robot. Though she didn't act very robotic. See, the thing about when you rewatch the first two movies, you can tell that the guy in part one is an android just by watching performance. He doesn't act. He's just normal enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she's got real, like, she's like real, and I get it's 200 years later, but I'm like, she's like way too concerned and nervous for a robot. She's like really like the other two robots, even Bishop when he was dying was very like easy.
Very, very matter of fact, but she sits there and drinks with Ron Perlman's character and then puts on boxing gloves and tries to pick up the cup for some reason. Like that's a big performance for an android to pretend that they're drunk.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, it was a kind of a weird, like I remembered her just being like some girl on the ship and like almost like being like the new Newt, and now she's a fucking robot. So it was a weird. I don't know. That was also like a weird performance. That was also like, I get the idea that she's a robot and now she's there to actually stop everything, whereas in the first movie, he's there to like get the alien back to Earth, but. I don't know. That was another weird performance. I did like Ron Perlman, and I didn't remember that Ron Perlman survived till the end.
Yeah, I forgot that too. You assume he's gonna die the entire time.
Yeah, because he's kind of like a dick. He's kind of like being. Whenever someone's chauvinistic to like the female lead in a horror film, you know they're gonna fucking die, but not him.
He also threw a knife into the paralyzed guy's legs. Like that's not someone who usually survives until the end of a movie.
Yeah. I didn't remember him surviving, but. I will say this. I know I did like the fact that like she finally made it to Earth. So like all of these movies are basically like she's just trying to get back to Earth, and now she finally did it, even though now she has acidic blood. Yeah. She's really horny now. Here's the question. Here's the real big question, right? Because she goes, "Who do I have to fuck?" If she's horny and her pussy gets wet, is that acidic? Oh no, that wouldn't be. No, when she menstruates, that'd be acidic blood.
But is she gonna or if she menstruates, is she gonna lay an alien egg, like just one?
Yeah, she's either gonna melt her vagina off, or she's gonna lay an alien egg. I wonder if does she menstruate?
I would imagine they did some other fucked up medical stuff to her that they never mentioned in the movie.
They didn't think about it. They just made like a regular woman, and like they land on Earth. She's like, yeah. He's like, oh my god, what's this burning sensation?
Oh my god, that never crossed my mind. That's actually a decent question.
Yeah, no, like because I was like, she's talking about fucking, and I'm like, I'm not fucking you. You got acid blood, bitch. Why the fuck?
But what kind of life could she possibly live? Like, is she gonna apply for jobs when she gets back to Earth? You know what I mean? Like, oh, it says here you've been missing for 400 years or 300 years or whatever it is at that point. And also, according to your medical, you're half something we've never even heard of in our entire life.
And she goes, "Oh no, you've heard them. They fought back in 2007. They fought predators in the woods." So,
so yeah, are those canon now? Is Alien versus Predator canon?
Alien versus Predator is canon in the Predator series because they referenced it in the Predator. But I don't know if it's canon in the Alien series. I'm gonna say it is. They were very careful in the Alien films. I noticed this to really be like the only time anyone ever dealt with aliens, well, these species, was when Sigourney Weaver was around. You know what I mean? They've never really seen them. And Alien vs Predator kind of throws it out the window because they're running around Earth. And then Prometheus has a I forgot I didn't. I'm gonna rewatch that too. Prometheus has a whole different origin story for this species that has nothing to do with Alien vs Predator. But I'm gonna say they all happen.
That's confusing because in Alien versus Predator, they say they're bred specifically for the predator to hunt, but in Prometheus, they say they're like evolved from a biological weapon that's slime that's supposed to be added.
Yeah, and I didn't see Alien Covenant. I know Alien Covenant. That I'm gonna wait till I have to watch on this thing because I'm doing this in a year order. The next one is Alien vs Predator. Did you like Prometheus and Alien Covenant while we're here?
I wanted to like Prometheus. So when I got out of the theater, I was like, I really like that. And the longer I went, the more I just didn't care to go back and watch it. And then Alien Covenant, I went to go see because I was bored one night and I was the only person in the movie theater.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and I thought it was okay, but then like again, I realized it was the same plot as I've seen 100 times now, which is they land, they find, they die, they leave.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see Alien Covenant. Prometheus, I remember that got a huge ton of hype, and the only thing I remember from that movie is the last shot, when the alien shows up. Yeah. I mean, that's really all you went to. You already knew. That's really the only reason you went to that movie. They thought, I'm going to see this really smart sci-fi film, but at the end, the alien shows up, and it's like,
yeah,
and it's like, I don't know, but I remember it not being good. But I remember the last shot being really cool.
Yeah, we thought it was going to explain like everything that we didn't know about the first one, and it didn't. It gave hints about that stuff, but it never explained anything.
No, it did like its own thing, and yeah, I didn't. I remember liking Alien vs Predator 1, but I haven't. That's another movie I haven't seen since theaters. And Alien vs Predator Requiem is just so. It's so poor. It's so. I don't know if you remember, but the shots are dark as fuck. You can barely see the creatures. You ever see those two?
I barely got through Requiem. I saw the first one in theaters. I liked it, but I mean, I was disappointed that it was PG-13. But other than that, I liked it.
Yeah, I remember. I think that killed it. That it was PG-13. I don't know why they did that. It's so funny because I remember like in the 90s, interest in Alien vs Predator was like really high, and by 2004, no one could give a shit that these two were It was fucking funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, another thing from back then too that would have been a big hit would be like RoboCop versus Terminator. And if that came out today, no one would go see it.
I know. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Terminator. I mean, Dark Fate. Did you see Dark Fate?
No, I didn't even see Genesis.
I saw Genesis. That was not good. Dark Fate I refuse to see because you know what happens at the beginning of the movie, right?
Oh yeah, everyone's told me. I am not seeing that movie.
I'm just like, fuck you. I hate movies. So I hate Alien 3. You go see a great movie and you watch the hero really like fight and overcome the odds and really like, like I did it. I fucking, whether it's I saved the future or it's Ripley, I saved Newt. I just want to protect this girl and I did it. And the next movie starts, and they just, you know what? No, actually, the hero failed. Here's the new movie. And it's like, well, then why the fuck did I sit through that last movie? Why don't you just fucking have, like you watch Terminator 2, and you're like, Terminator Dark Fate, and you're like, well, why don't you just have, like, fucking the T-1000 kill John Connor? Why don't you just fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like every other Terminator movie, except for the first two, aren't justified. Because, like, that's the whole plot of the second one. It's like to stop Judgment Day. And then in the third one, which I enjoyed when I was a teenager, but it's not great. They were just like, oh, no, you just postponed it. So what the fuck was the point of the second one?
Yeah. Yeah, and then Salvation was all in the future, which I was kind of fine. Well, I guess you could, kind of do that, but the future was ruined or whatever. And then you get to Genesis, and that movie was a clusterfuck. That was like Back to the Future 2 on Coke.
Yeah.
That was really bad.
And they tried to blame the failure of that movie on the fact that the trailer spoiled the twist.
Oh, that John Connor was the villain?
Yeah. I was like, that wasn't that good of a twist in the first place.
Well, the whole thing is a Terminator kills Sarah Connor's parents, and then the Arnold Terminator was sent to protect her, but nobody knows who sent the Arnold Terminator. So the Genesis, they kill John Connor, and now Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor like, we don't have to have a child, but we're also gonna like fuck, like we don't. There, John Connor isn't the future. We're gonna do, but also who sent the Terminator? And they have to go find the mysterious person who's the Terminator. Like, what could be a satisfying answer? Like, unless you have the right, unless you're like Ellen Ripley sent the Terminator.
Yeah.
Like, what is the answer going to be? That's going to be like, oh my god! Like, there's only so many characters in the Terminator universe.
Yeah, James Cameron himself sent it back.
RoboCop sent the
Terminator. Speaking of directors, do you know anything about the director of Alien Resurrection? Because I don't know anything.
He was a French guy.
That's all I know.
He directed The Fifth Element, but I don't think he did. I think he was like
that was the guy who did I think Taken, the Luc Besson guy.
Yeah, Luc Besson. Yeah, he did I remember he did like this indie movie, this French indie. I don't know if it's indie. It's an international film. And then they immediately hired him for this, and I remember like everyone was like, we didn't know what this guy would talk to us. They'd be like, what the fuck this guy just told us to do? Jean-Pierre Jeunet. He directed Children of Lost, The City of Lost Children. And then everything else he does is like artsy fartsy. Because after he did Amelie, which remember that one, because my mom saw it, and that's like this French like kind of artsy film. A very long. Yeah, he never did anything else like this again.
That's an odd choice to bring into the fourth film of an Alien franchise.
Yeah, no, everything else that he did, I'm looking at the posters, is like looks like a French hipster film, like something you watch at a film festival, and it's about this woman who works at a cafe and she questions life, so she starts fucking her philosophy teacher. That's what they all look like to me. I don't know, they might be good.
Yeah. I know that, but that's like getting the director of Chocolat to direct a Batman movie. Like, why would you do this,
Well, I mean, Marvel might. They got the fucking the girl who directed No Man Land. They had to do Eternals, and Eternals fucking stung. But
yeah, well, actually, I mean, the Joker movie, I'm kind of split on.
Oh, you don't know if you like Joker or not?
Here's the thing: it's just like, if you had asked me if I wanted to see a Joker movie, I would have been like, hell yeah, and they'd be like, but he doesn't fight Batman. I'm like, okay. He's also not a criminal mastermind. Oh, okay. So what does he do? He dances downstairs. I would have been like, no, I'll pass on that movie thing.
That's the weird thing they're making. So like, the reason why characters like Morbius or Joker or Venom, or there's something else they did this with, they're like part of the character's universe. So like, you like Lex Luthor because he's part of Superman's universe, and you want to watch him interact with Superman, how he affects. And if it's just like Lex Luthor and Superman doesn't exist, it's like this character, and this kind of thing with Joker, even Morbius. Morbius, he's kind of like an ally to Ghost Rider. He's an enemy sometimes to Spider-Man, but sometimes they work together. So in that aspect, that character's cool, right? But if you take all that away and it's just Morbius, there's really not a lot to that character. And I kind of feel the same with Joker, and now they're making a Craven movie where he doesn't fight Spider-Man. I mean,
yeah, but if I wanted to see someone in a goofy suit crying for 2 hours, I'd go down to the bus station. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to watch the Joker movie.
Yeah. The Joker movie. Are you what do you watch lately nowadays? What are you into?
I'm actually catching up on a lot of shows that people have been telling me to watch for years, and I just haven't watched them. I just finished Peaky Blinders. I thought that was okay. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. It wasn't like the best show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I just started Ozark.
Okay, that I tried to, and I can't. I don't know. Jason Bateman, I can't take him seriously. Like when he's negotiating with gangsters, I just picture like the other family members in the Hogan family coming out. Dave, why is this drug dealer here?
Yeah, it's tough for me too. But I've always said this. Jason Bateman is really missing his calling in life is to play the father in a Problem Child remake.
Oh, he'd be great. Yes,
he would be. So you'd kill that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, yeah, no. I mean, I watched Stranger Things. I'm trying to think, but yeah, no.
I take it you probably watched The Boys, right?
I'm behind on that. I was
I'm
really,
behind on that too.
yeah, I was really liking it. But I'm behind on that right now.
And I have not started Lord of the Rings yet. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the same way with the Game of Thrones thing yet. I might wait like a season or two in and then I'll start it.
Yeah, the same with Game of Thrones. I just like the weird thing now with these properties is like we're not like I'm not asking for more Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, and it's almost like they put it out, and then if you don't watch it, they call you a racist, and I'm like, I
Yeah,
didn't ask for this.
Yeah, I mean, like I truly could not give a shit what color the elves are or whatever the fuck. Yeah, like
it just doesn't look very interesting.
Yeah, it does not matter to me.
Yeah. Well, fucking yeah. So and then She-Hulk, I'm behind. You watch the Disney Plus Marvel shows?
I'm the only one I've completely watched was WandaVision.
Okay, so you haven't watched the other ones yet?
Yeah, I haven't watched the other ones yet. I've seen a few of the Captain of Winter Soldier, and I really like that. I just the Disney Plus prescription I was using was not it's not mine anymore.
No, okay. So yeah, so you fell off on that. Yeah, I couldn't get through Miss Marvel. I tried. It was painful, dude. It was bad. It was really bad. It was, you know what it was? The actors were all good, but the show is like a joke is second, but none of them are funny. And
that's what Marvel's becoming lately. Like they don't have.
Yeah. Thor was like that. Did you go see Thor?
No, not yet. I mean, like I'm actually pretty behind on Marvel. But
no, you're a racist.
Everyone who said they went to go see Thor were like, yeah, it's a bit too jokey.
Yeah, and it's fine. The jokes are funny, but if you're gonna be this jokey, then just make make a comedy. Like I don't know, like it's still supposed to be Thor. It's still supposed to connect, I think, to Avengers and the other movies that are serious. You know, Spider-Man: No Way Home. Like Spider-Man: No Way Home was jokey, but it still had its serious moments. But now, like it's just all. But the jokes aren't funny. They're just not funny. Like Miss Marvel's not funny. It's like cutesy humor rather than like humor, and it just wasn't very good.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. Like 10 years ago, we had, Captain America, where it was like the cool spy movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, which is like the funny like space movies, Iron Man, which was like the main character of the whole thing, Thor, which was kind of like the fantasy movies, but now they just all feel like the comedy movie.
Yeah, comedy, but not funny comedy. And then the other thing too, because the show, like this is my problem with Miss Marvel, because the show is so silly, and it kind of my problem with Hawkeye too, even though I liked Hawkeye, because this show is so silly. To me, I don't think the villain is a threat because you've made it so jokey, and like nothing bad's gonna happen to me or these other characters. That when the bad guy's like, let's get Miss Marvel, I don't buy it because I'm like, well, he's not gonna get Miss Marvel because you're not gonna allow anything to happen to this girl.
Yeah.
On this show, like I'm not gonna like with this. Some shows like Breaking Bad or even Game of Thrones, you're like, hey, this week my favorite character might get their head chopped off, but
yeah.
Or even like a regular Miss Marvel, it's like, well, I know nothing bad can happen, so I just can't get into it.
Yeah, I actually got to give you credit though, and I want everyone who listens to this to know that you called this out. You may not know of what you were calling out, but you called this out really well. Back in, I think it was May or June of 2020, you said Warner Brothers was dumping all of its bullshit on HBO Max because the movies they made are terrible. And now look at the position they're in 2 years later.
Yeah, I mean, every movie I saw on HBO Max that was supposed to be in theaters, including the new Matrix, Wonder Woman 84, and Mortal Kombat for that matter, none of them made me be like, oh my God, I wish I saw this in theaters. I was like, oh, I get why they did this. Because you gain subscribers because if these movies came out in theaters, they would have just pumped.
Yeah.
Like every movie, I don't know about Dune because I didn't see Dune yet, but Many Saints in Newark.
Oh yeah.
Even though I did like it, it wasn't very good. Suicide Squad. None of them felt like big movies. It felt like Matrix too. Matrix was like, what the fuck is this? But they did it because they knew they had shit coming out. They couldn't really adjust it because of COVID. They had to just move on, so they just dumped all their shit on us.
Yeah, and now they're like, They're in that whole like we're canceling movies, and
Mm-hmm.
I heard they don't even have enough money to promote like a lot of their
Yes,
movies.
that's why they are delaying Shazam. They don't have enough money to promote it. Yeah.
That's crazy to me because it was always like Warner Brothers was like the big studio outside of Disney, of course, but
And they sold the CW. That's why all the CW shows are getting canceled. And they yeah, I mean they canceled Batgirl, and I think that you're gonna see the comic book. I think they're gonna shut down the comic book line for DC Comics. I think eventually the only thing they're gonna see from DC Comics are gonna be Batman movies. Like there's gonna be a Batman movie every 3 years, probably a Joker movie too. And they are not going to try with the other characters because they're too nervous. They don't have the confidence. You know, if you said to me years ago, what's going to be a movie that makes more money, Ant-Man or Green Lantern, I'd be like, you're out of your fucking mind. You got to make a Green Lantern movie. Ant-Man, what the fuck are you gonna do with Ant-Man? The fact that there's two coming up on a third successful Ant-Man film, and DC made one Green Lantern film that bombed, just tells me you guys don't know what the fuck you're doing.
no, they have no idea.
You guys have no idea the money you're sitting on if you do this shit. And then you see the CW shows, and I watch them because I'm a jerk off. But even like the Green Arrow show is not really the Green Arrow. The Flash show is not really the Flash, and it's like you guys are sitting on money and you're not doing anything with it.
Yeah, I don't get why they're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes it feels like they think they know more than the money in our pockets, and that's
Yeah,
that's insane to me.
yeah, and I think they think that the only two characters marketable are Batman and Superman on a, and it's like, and I even think they gave up on Superman. I don't think they've said it out loud, but I do think they've even given up on that character. And I'm like, dude, no, everybody, you can. I mean, do you realize DC Comics or?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make money. Like the fact that Hawkman is a supporting character in Black Adam. It's like, dude, no, Hawkman should have his own fucking movie. Black Adam, you know what I mean? Like it's just like you could make millions or billions off a fucking Adam movie, off a fucking Green Arrow movie, off like, but you're just doing it wrong. Even like Nightwing, Teen Titans, the Teen Titan movies. In another reality, the Teen Titan movies are like the most anticipated movies of the year. Every kid, I mean, kids love the Teen Titans cartoon. Can you imagine if they had done the movies the right way and not this weird TV show where they're cursing?
Or if they like lock down an actual actor who wanted to be Batman for an extended period of time and did the whole Bat family, you know, like that would have been a huge hit.
Mm-hmm. And then like, I mean, like if you had started a DCU with Christian Bale and Heath Ledger, he hadn't died in 2008, right? And you slowly brought in other characters to interact with them, whether it's Superman and Hawkman and Flash and Wonder Woman and all that, and Lobo, all that other shit. I think those two would have made it work. But you know, they're always so. The other thing with Batman is always like, oh, it's got to be realistic. It's got to be realistic. No, it's a fucking dude who dresses up like a bat. It's not realistic. It's already that's already out the window.
Yep. I mean, it was cool that they did those movies realistic, but like, you know, we also want the Batman who drives a fucking nuclear car.
Yeah.
In a city that with you know, poor planning, you know, poor city planner.
Yeah, I want Mr. Freeze to show up with his freeze gun.
Yeah.
That it can all work, but yeah, man, fucking look back to Alien Resurrection. It was, you know, hey, it's better than Alien 3, but it's still not what it was. I think that's the reason you never see another Sigourney Weaver Alien film. I think the last two films left a very bad taste in people's mouths.
Yeah, I don't even think she wanted to do this one. I mean, that's my guess.
Well, she wanted to do Alien 5. They wrote a script where it was going to be on Earth, and she was like, "No, I don't think she's." I go, "What is? I don't want to see Ripley." She goes, "I don't want to see Ripley like fighting aliens in a cornfield." She goes, "That's not." She goes, "Ripley should fight aliens in outer space. If you can get Ripley back in outer space, I'll come back." And they were like, "No." And
I mean, that was actually a good call. No one wants to, like, why would you? Of all the like different locations you could set an alien movie, like why would you put it in, you know, fucking Detroit? You know what I mean? Like what?
She's fighting the aliens while waiting for the one train.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's this goddamn one train? Oh! So, Darragh, where can people find you on social media and stuff?
Right now, just my Facebook. Just type in my name. That's it, really.
Oh, you don't do Instagram or Twitter or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I tried it. It wasn't really for me. You know, I did
Okay.
stand up because I like doing stand up. It wasn't
Mhm.
like it wasn't a goal really to become like famous or Pete Davidson or whatever.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't think you. Yeah. Well, nobody wants to be Pete Davidson. Maybe
I
Kanye West.
I think a lot of people want to be Pete
Yeah.
Davidson.
I think. Yeah. Um. Yeah. You just seem like you're a great guy, but yeah, you basically I hate to say because this is such an Irish stereotype, meat and potatoes, right? You're like very by the books, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna start doing a dance on TikTok.
No, that's straightforward stand up and missionary sex. Those are the only two things
Oh,
I
so
do.
and a beer every now and then, or you stop drinking? You still drink?
Only on Fridays and Saturdays now that I have a Monday through Friday job.
Oh wow, you're a weekend warrior.
Yeah, that's pretty much it now. I might have too much on a weekend, but still, if I'm getting up Monday morning, I'm going to bed at 9 o'clock.
Alright. There you go. You're fucking killing it. All right, yeah. Find them on Instagram. You can find them on Facebook. Guys, if you like the podcast, please check out our archives. We did all the animated Disney films. We did the. This is a very we talked a little bit about. This is a very non-Disney podcast episode. But here's the deal. This is the rule I have. If Disney buys it, doesn't matter if they didn't make it. If they buy the rights to a film and own it, it's a Disney movie. And right now they own the rights to this.
And they own the right to everything Fox used to do.
Yeah.
Including The Simpsons, which makes me very angry as a diehard.
And Family Guy and Bob's Burgers and Futurama. Basically, they own everything. Here's the deal. If there's a porn studio, Disney buys them. Those porn movies are Disney films, and they're being covered on this fucking podcast.
Oh, great. Yeah.
All right? If they buy the entire back catalog of Jenna Jameson, she gets a season. All right? That's it. But that's the rules. Doesn't matter that they didn't. So even though they didn't make this movie, it's a fucking Disney film. They own it. So
no, don't twist my arm. I'll watch her entire catalog.
Okay. Yeah. So listen to the archives. Subscribe, review. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Sadly, I have to be on there. Ray Gootz Comedy. And next week, Alien versus Predator. I don't know who's going to be the guest because it's not on any streaming services. I have to have someone come over and watch it with me on my DVD that I own. So
that's weird. It's not on any. It's not even on.
You can rent it or buy it. I don't want to make anyone rent or buy the movie.
Yeah.
Do this podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I do.
Yeah, I mean, if they own it, but I don't know who owns. Do you own Alien vs Predator 1 or 2?
No.
I'm the only fucking jerk off who owns the DVDs of those movies. So I have the movie, so the comic can come here and watch it for free. But I feel bad being like, "Could you rent it? It's only $2.99 on iTunes."
Well, it's the grand return of Lance Henriksen.
Yes, his descendant. Apparently, they love that look. They're like, listen, our great grandfather in 2004 had this hairstyle, this weird reddish, balding look.
The exact same voice.
Build the robot like that. Thanks.
The exact same voice too.
Yeah. But Darragh, thank you so much for doing the show, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me, man. Anytime.
Thank you, guys. We will see you next week for Alien vs Predator.